Excellent work. My next guest in Gordon Street tonight is one of the world's best improvisational actors. He's appeared in Blackadder, The Young Ones and Mr Bean. He's one of the stars of the UK's Whose Line Is It Anyway? Please welcome Steve Frost.
I've just added something to this for you.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. Welcome to Australia, sir.
Oh, yes, exactly.
Where you get a crown of sausages on every TV show. You've had a rough run here in Australia. You've had pretty much everything thrown at you.
Well, not as rough as the people who live here and have to put up with stuff, but we've been on tour. We came in from Hong Kong doing Whose Line Is It Anyway? And then it was cyclones. You know, we landed in Queensland and a lot of the gigs were cancelled because they were flooded out. And so we did synchronised swimming demonstrations instead. You know that.
I love synchronised swimming.
Yeah.
I always watch it. I'm hanging for one of the four girls to get a cramp and start sinking to the bottom. Because I want to see the other three have to synchronise.
They're all going like this.
We never practiced this one.
Yeah, so we got the cyclones and we had some gigs cancelled. Then we went down, came here to Victoria, and you had flooding here.
Yes, yeah.
So it was just incredible. Then we went to Perth towards the bushfires. But luckily the gig wasn't cancelled there because it was one of the swimming pool shows. It didn't matter.
And locusts. You've hit locusts as well.
Ballarat, we had a plague of locusts. And they came... you know that they come and they land on the crops and eat all the grass, marching, you know, like ants in a Tom and Jerry cartoon. They followed us into the theatre. So, ladies and gentlemen, will you please... And Ian Coppinger, the Irish comedian who's with us, is only 5 foot tall, and they carried him off. And made him their king.
Because when I saw you, I performed with you guys in Melbourne.
Yeah, Adam's guested with us a couple of times. We never asked him back, though.
But you guys were talking that night about you took a tram that afternoon?
Well, yeah, Andy Smart, one of the other guys who's working with us, has been to Australia loads and loads of times. He's great to have because he knows everything. He knows the language. Which is quite handy. And he knows where to go and all the rest of it. He said, look, we've got to go down to St Kilda because it's, you know, that's where the action is, by the sea, and it's good, and it's groovy, and good pubs and all the rest of it. He said, but we'll go on a tram, an old-fashioned tram. And I said, oh, it'd be great, yeah. So we go out, and he said, you've got to get the tickets before you get on board. So I said, well, the tram stops over there. He said, no, come on, it's $2.80. Put the money, we were there for ages, got my glasses out, did it, got the 2 tickets. The tram came along, the driver said, you can't get on with those, mate, they're parking tickets.
What was it about British comedy in the 80s? There was just this amazing movement of people like the Young Ones.
Yes, exactly, the Young Ones, which was a great sitcom. I watched it on the repeats, it's great. It really ripped up, you know, the cosy chat show type thing, you know. Sorry. Britain at the time had Mrs Thatcher, and a lot of us were not keen on Thatcher, you know, she was a bit too right-wing for us. And so there was a whole alternative comedy movement, and it was all about it was a bit like punk rock music. It was like anybody get up and have a go. Because it used to be guys in suits and ties doing it. And so... you look like you work at a funeral parlour.
If you'd all like to just pay your respects as the body goes around, everybody.
He was a bit of a... Never mind, yeah. And so, for me, it was like getting up... I actually went to drama school and trained classically Shakespeare and Chekhov, as you can probably tell from my voice, mate. And we were just going on stage in pubs and clubs, working men's clubs, in jeans and T-shirts, unshaven, and doing stuff that was relevant and, you know, and ripping up the old guard, basically. So there was very much a movement there, yeah.
And your dad was kind of influential in your artistic
My dad was influential. He's no longer with us. He's in the pub round the corner. And, Terry Frost, Sir Terry Frost, he got knighted just before he died. Well, she went in too hard with the sword. I was all for her up to then. I'm a Republican now. Fell into my pint of beer and I said, look at the head on that. Anyway. He was an abstract artist, right? He was always at home, because the studio was at home. And I used to go to school and my mates would say, oh, my dad works at the so-and-so factory, the metal box factory, or the whatever factory. And then, what does your dad do? He said, well, he paints red circles on big canvases. At home, you know, and all the rest of it. So when I said, I want to be an actor, Dad, he said, well, I can't tell you anything else, because he said, I don't do anything for a living. I just do this thing. So I'm not and he was very supportive, yeah.
So what drew you to improv?
I just started doing it at the nightclubs I was doing comedy at, and I found that I was getting more laughs making stuff up within the act, you know, and then remembering it the next night than the stuff we sit down and write and think is funny and all the rest of it. And in the end, you just get rid of the writing, and it's great. You go on stage and you have no idea. You cannot prepare for it. And basically, I'm a very lazy person. So there's no rehearsal, there's no writing, you don't have to remember the lines, you just go on and do what I do, you know.
Well, do you know, I realised I was babysitting someone's daughter who was about 5 years old, and her sister was having a big birthday party, and we were just kind of playing. And after a while, I realised she was improvising.
Yeah.
I was thinking, oh, what do I do with the 5-year-old to keep her occupied? And then went, oh, it's just like an improv game.
Yeah, yeah.
She was kind of going, and there are pirates coming in.
You've got to maintain your childlike qualities, that's right, yeah.
Do you think that's why
That's what my mum did, but they really were pirates. That's really funny. Oh, there they are!
Steve, would you hang around for a moment? Would you please thank Steve for us?
Thank you very much.
Now, earlier in the show, we found a man in the front row called Gabor, and we took this photo of him as a senior citizen with attitude. So we then sent it out to Twitter and asked if he was in a sitcom about a senior citizen with attitude, what would that sitcom be called? Well done, Kevin Barnes, who suggested Grey's Lobotomy. Hannah?
How I Met Your Grandmother.
Renee sent in Cardiac Arrested Development.
We could have no sex, no drugs and sausage rolls.
What about 2.5 homeless men?
Well, he is now.
Not so much Sex in the City.
A few more have just come in just as we were speaking. That 1870s show. I think, last one, Dude, Where's My Dentures?
I'm wearing them.
Thanks, everyone that just sent in some tweets. Well done, you. We're going to go back to Tammy's house now. Tammy, of course, has left her cat at home. She's a little bit worried about it. Dave O'Neill is there cat-sitting for the night.